Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Jeremiah, the 15th chapter. Judgment must come. All right. So this is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 1. Then said the Lord Yahweh unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. And what that means is, when you go during the time of Moses, right, and even during the time of Samuel, these were two notable men of the Lord that pled on behalf of Israel, right, to the Lord for their sake, right, in averting the Lord's wrath and in different instances. And the Lord is saying, though, even Moses and Samuel pled for this people, ultimately my mind could not be, towards them, as in like I couldn't, I couldn't just let them slide. Okay, because it'd be one thing if when they pled for the people actually took that chance and did something good with it, but they just keep on being more and more rebellious. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth, which would manifest by the Lord having them removed from the land to go and serve captivity. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? So where should we go? Where are we supposed to go? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. So pretty much the message would be, the Lord's about to cast you out. And they would ask, well, what do you mean? Like where is he going to cast us out to? And then as the Lord is instructing Jeremiah to tell them, some of you that are appointed to death, you're going to die. Some of you for the sword, you're going to be killed by the sword, or wounded by it. Some of you are going to die by famine in the siege. And some of you are going to survive that and be taken away captive. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord Yahweh: the sword to slay, the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, right, to devour, right, their carcasses, the vultures and so on, and the beasts of the earth, right, the wild animals, to devour and to destroy. So these were 4 kinds of judgments, right, the Lord would also bring upon them. And I will cause them to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth, meaning, and that was a part of how we ended up being scattered, right, through captivity, right? But captivity after captivity, it got worse and worse, where either Jake, fled, migrated, or were just forcefully, dispersed. Because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, for that which he did in Jerusalem. And we went through that when we read, I believe it was the book of Kings. We read about the iniquity, the wickedness that Manasseh did. Now, though Manasseh, when he was captive in Babylon, repented and he prayed to the Lord, the Lord had mercy on him, but the judgment was still going to come, because remember that, yes, Manasseh led Israel astray, but they were still guilty for following it. Verse 5, for who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Yeah, the nations don't care about you, and the only one that actually does care about you is the Most High, but you've made an enemy out of him. So now who's going to pity you? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? Who's going to care for you? Who's going to mourn when you're wounded? Who's going to inquire about your well-being? Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Lord Yahweh. Thou art gone backward. Therefore, and when you go backward, you're going in the reverse way of what the Lord, has instructed you to go in. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee, meaning the Lord is going to take, a stance against you to now bring judgment against you. take action against you and destroy thee. I am weary with repenting. So the Lord is, I'm tired of your I'm sorry's, your salakias. I'm tired of having mercy on you. I'm tired of repenting of the evil that I thought to do to you, just to find out that maybe I should have just done it, because you ain't gonna get it. You're not gonna get it. Verse 7, and I will fan them with a fan in the gates of the land. And this is an analogy of like winnowing, right? When you have the grain and then the stubble, or the chaff, and you toss it up into the air and then you fan it so the wind can blow away the chaff. So the Lord is basically saying, I'm gonna blow you away out of this land. I will bereave them of children, right? And meaning your children are gonna die. You're gonna suffer loss. Now, on the physical level, or on the granular level, the women would have their children would be dying either of starvation or being slain. But on a nationalistic level, the woman would be likened unto Judah, and then the children being the actual people. I would destroy my people, since they return not from their ways. Their widows are increased to me above the sand of the seas. And what that signifies is a lot of their men would die, because a widow is a woman without a husband. And by the widows increasing, that means that the men, their husbands, are dying. Because usually when trouble comes, the man is the first line of defense, right? The protector. I have brought upon them against the mother, right? So I've brought calamity upon them, and against the mother of the young men, a spoiler at noonday, being the armies of the foreign nation, okay, which are likened unto the spoiler here. I have caused him to fall upon it suddenly, upon the city, right, upon the people, the inhabitants, suddenly, while they were unprepared, and terrors upon the city. So that Slakia, she that hath borne 7 languisheth. The born meaning to carry, right? When a mother is pregnant, she bears, right, that child. She carries that child in her womb, and then eventually she gives birth to it. And she's gonna languish, as it says. Let's look into that word, languisheth. Amal, to be weak, to be exhausted, to droop, to grow feeble. She hath given up the ghost. When you give up the ghost, you die. And it's like today when they say you've breathed your last breath, or you've taken your last breath, so to speak. Her sun is gone down while it was yet day, right? And that's basically, once again, representing your demise, because if your sun goes down, like today they'll say, like, you put their lights out, right? If your sun goes down while it is yet day, it means that you're not seeing the sun anymore, because now you're dead. She hath been ashamed and confounded, and the residue of them will I deliver to the sword. So those that survive will be delivered, as it says, to the sword before their enemies, saith the Lord. So they're gonna, if you survive the famine, by the time the enemies break through, you're now going to be subject to them. Woe is me, my mother that hath borne me. Now Jeremiah, this is Jeremiah's lamentation, his despair. So he says, woe is me, my mother, that thou hast borne me, a man of strife and a man of contention to the whole earth. So Jeremiah is saying, based on what he's feeling in his situation, that he is born, but he's likened unto a man of strife and contention, because everybody hates him for what he's standing for speaking the words of the Lord. I have neither lent on usury, nor men have lent to me on usury. Yet every one of them doth curse me. Right? So he's like, I haven't dealt wickedly with these people, right? I haven't, lent to you with interest or threatened you or any of those things. I haven't borrowed and, as it says here, refused to pay. But yet they hate me as though I'm some evildoer. They curse me. His own family members, the people of his city. The Lord said, verily, it shall be well with thy remnant. Verily, I will cause the enemy to entreat thee well in the time of evil and in the time of affliction. Right. So the Lord still assured um, the remnant, right? Because it wasn't everybody in the land that that was evil, okay. But also when it came time, when you actually, I think we'll read it as we get later on into the book. The general of the Babylonian army, when they came there, actually did entreat Jeremiah well, right? They gave him the option of going to Babylon with him, and he would be taken care of, or if he wanted to stay, he could stay. As it says, in the time of affliction, shall iron break the northern iron and the steel? Now, this may sound a bit confusing, but what it's really saying, even when you look in the NKJV, is can anyone break iron? Can anyone break iron? The northern iron and the bronze? NLT, can a man break a bar of iron from the north or a bar of bronze? So, I mean, none of us can just go grab iron and just break it like that. It's a rhetorical question, but it's signifying, the chances of averting this destruction or this judgment. It's like a man breaking iron. Thy substance and thy treasures will I give to the spoil without price. Saying, I'm going to give up you and your belongings for free. And that for all thy sins. And I'm going to do it because of all your sins. Even in all thy borders. And I will make thee to pass with thine enemies into a land which thou knowest not. And the way we were passed with our enemies into a land was through captivity, or being shackled up. They would be on horses and carriages, we would be walking. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, which shall burn upon you. So you've kindled the wrath of the Lord, and this is why it's happening. And you're gonna suffer this because his wrath is gonna burn upon you. Or in other words, you're gonna feel the wrath of the Lord. O Lord Yahweh, thou knowest, remember me and visit me and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away in thy long suffering. So Jeremiah is pretty much complaining to the Lord, right? Of the once again the people that are coming against him and the backlash he's getting for preaching this word. As he says, take me not away in thy long suffering. Know that for thy sake I have suffered rebuke. So in your long suffering, because remember the last time the Lord told him concerning his family members, when the judgment would come, the Lord would get him too. So there was still some long suffering before the Lord exacted retribution. And Jeremiah is saying is, no, don't don't wait too long to where now I'm they get a hold of me, and I got to suffer for it. Right. And know that it's for your sake that I'm suffering this rebuke. Thy words were found and I did eat them. Meaning Jeremiah, when he found the words of the Lord, the way of the Lord, the instructions of the Lord, he followed it, right? He consumed it. And thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of my heart. So he was glad to hear the word of the Lord and follow the instructions of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. For I am called by thy name, O Yahweh, God of hosts, which is another way of saying I am joined unto you. When a woman is called by the name of her husband, she's joined unto him, right? I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because of thy hand. So I didn't associate with these evildoers, right? I didn't join them in their feasts and in their rejoicing. I separated myself because your hand was upon me, right? For thou hast filled me with indignation, because now Jeremiah's eyes were open to the actual blatant wickedness that they were doing, and he was pissed, like how we are, right? When you you come into the truth, after a while, you start to feel that indignation of the Lord when you see the condition and the stupidity and the wickedness that our people continuously exercise themselves in. Why is my pain perpetual and my wound incurable, which refuseth to be healed? So he's like, why am I continuing to suffer and be at the mercy of these of the insults and the threats and the harsh treatment of these people? Wilt thou be altogether unto me as a liar and as waters that fail? Because you told me that you would be with me, that you would avenge me, you would protect me, and now I'm suffering for your word. Are were you telling me lies? Right? Are you going to be like a well that no longer springs water when I need it? Therefore, thus saith the Lord. So the Lord replies, if thou return, then will I bring thee again, and thou shalt stand before me. And what the Lord is saying here to Jeremiah, what he means by that is, if you return, i.e., you basically straighten yourself out, let go of that despair, drop that conflict within yourself, that emotional shit, basically, and set your mind right again. Then I'm gonna, as it says, you're gonna stand before me. I'm gonna keep using you as my servant. And the Lord is saying that because he forewarned Jeremiah already, right? When you go to the book of Jeremiah, the first chapter, what did the Lord tell him? Right, verse 8, Jeremiah 1 and 8, the Lord said, be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord. This is probably why Jeremiah was saying, well, are you going to be like a liar to me? Because you saying you're going to deliver me, but, these people, they're not letting up. Let's see, there's a bit more, though, I'm looking for. There we go. This is Jeremiah 1 and 17. Therefore gird up thy loins and arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. So the Lord was almost putting Jeremiah back into remembrance of, this is what I told you to do. Don't be telling me about this complaining stuff. Set your mind right, be firm, be bold, and continue to prophesy unto them. If thou take forth the precious from the vile, right? If you separate the the emotions and the unnecessary, the superfluous stuff, right? You speak the right things, the precious things, the words that I've commanded you to speak, thou shalt be as my mouth, right? So I'm gonna speak through you, so long as you speak exactly the words that I need you to speak. But return thou not unto them. Or Slaki, it says, let them return unto thee, but return thou not unto them. And when you read this in in some of these other translations, it's given the sentiment of, as it says in the NLT, I'll read the whole thing. This is how the Lord responds. If you return to me, I will restore you. Now, Jeremiah didn't necessarily leave the Lord. So when he says, if you return to me, it really means, dropping the feelings of despair of, oh Lord, they keep saying this against me, they're trying to do this against me, and just keep your mind settled on, this is what the Lord said I should do, that's what I'm going to do, forget the rest. So you can continue to serve me. If you speak good words rather than worthless ones, you will be my spokesman. You must influence them, do not let them influence you. See, so don't let the things they say get to you. You got to be hard against them. Your forehead got to be hard against theirs, because you're speaking my words. Verse 20, and I will make thee unto this people a fenced brazen wall, and they shall fight against thee. So you're going to be like a strong defense. And yeah, they're going to come against you, but they shall not prevail against thee, for I am with thee to save thee and to deliver thee, saith the Lord. So go out there, speak the word boldly. Yes, they're going to oppose. Yes, they're going to come against you. Yes, they're going to threaten you. But in the long term, they're not going to get the upper hand over you, because I'm telling you that. And I will deliver thee out of the hand of the wicked, and I will redeem thee out of the hand of the terrible. So almost like what the Lord told Joshua, right? Don't be afraid. I'm with you. Just go and do what I've commanded you to do. And that brings us to the end of Jeremiah, the 15th chapter. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kudash. And until next time, Shalom.